Thanks so much for being here. My name's Kim Roots. I'm editor-in-chief of TVLine, and we're so happy to have you here with us for our latest TVLine Spotlight conversation, which is a cozy Q&A, and this is perhaps the coziest with the weather outside, with the people that make the TV that you love. So we're going to get to talk to, and you're going to get to talk to, some of the people who make AMC's Dark Winds, which is about to premiere pretty soon. We're honored to have them with us. They're going to talk with our Matt Mitovich. Right now, I'm going to bring him up, so please give a warm welcome to our Chief Content Officer, Matt Mitovich.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for coming out tonight. When we came up with the idea for the TVLine Spotlight Conversation series, Dark Winds is exactly the kind of show that I had in mind because it is just excellent on multiple levels. The cast is wonderful, from the leads to every guest star they bring through. The storytelling is subtle, but it has this way of like sneaking up on you and grabbing you and pulling you to the edge of your seat and having you wondering, what is this character going to do next? The cinematography, I mean, every other shot on the show looks like a postcard. And perhaps most importantly, this show brings to light Native American traditions and beliefs in a way that too few TV shows ever have. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming the cast of AMC's Dark Winds, Zahn McClarnon, Deana Allison, Jessica Matten, and Kiowa Gordon.
Hello.
I hear tell that some of you are in New York for the very first time.
Miss Deana Allison is in New York for the first time. Lovely wife.
How do you like it so far?
I love it. It's been amazing. It's been a childhood dream. I was a big fan of the Muppets Take Manhattan, so I've been definitely referencing a lot of this, like the mindset, like you don't take no for an answer when he was trying to push his play, the Manhattan Melodies. So it's really wonderful to be here, and I'm just loving it. I'm a big fan of Sex and the City, Elf, and so I'm just like going to all these places and
Weren't Big and Carrie supposed to get married right across the street?
Yes, we were just talking about that, how she like hit Big right here with the flowers over his head because he like stood her up.
Bingo, bingo.
So it's really beautiful just to come here and just to see these very iconic places. I love it.
Ghostbusters. Big? I played a character called Big. You didn't.
My first question isn't a question, it's a statement. Y'all got renewed already.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Season 4 is happening. What difference does that make for you as actors to know ahead of a new season that you've got another one coming?
Job security.
Pay my rent.
I think this is the first time the show's been renewed ahead of a premiere, correct?
I mean, it's just, I pinch myself every day. I really do. I mean, to work in this business for a few decades and to have a little bit of job security, because you never know when, you know what I mean? So, and especially at this time period in the film and TV business, it's, to have a job is wonderful.
I cover the show for TVLine, and I feel like when I've been writing about it over the past 2 seasons, more and more people are showing up to rave about it. Like I'll write about a premiere date, and people will show up saying, thank God, I love the show, I can't wait. And the crowd is just getting bigger with each season that passes. Are you feeling in the day-to-day, like more people are watching the show? Are more people tapping you on the shoulder when you're in line at the Safeway? Or
Definitely. I mean, it's been the first time where I've gone through the Lax airport a couple of times, and security is like, I get defensive because I think they're trying to frisk me, and they're like, no, we love this show. So that's new. That's new. It's beautiful, though. It's a way to connect with people, right? And that's what life is about, connection. So it's a great excuse to be able to do that.
do they scream out Bernadette or Manuelito?
Burn, yeah.
Burn, yeah.
It's the best one.
Yeah.
They call me.
Oh.
They do not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I should. No, from Reservation Dogs, they do.
Oh.
One of my lines on Reservation Dogs.
Calls the kids that.
Yeah.
Concurrent with the Renewal news was the news that you're going to be making your directorial debut in season 4. Is that something you'd been kind of like angling for or thinking about? Did you shadow anybody yet?
Absolutely not. It's AMC was kind enough to ask me if I wanted to direct, and it scares the heck out of me. So I never really thought I would ever direct, but how can I pass up an opportunity like that? It's very scary, but I have a great team around me, a great support team, and John Worth, our showrunner, and Chris Eyre, one of our producing directors. I've got great ADs, and Jim Choi, who is our line producer, and I've got a great team around me, so I think we'll be okay. And I know the show pretty well, and I've got this wonderful cast, so I think we'll...
I thought it was Jim Corey.
Chori,
Oh,
Corey.
dang. It's either one.
We're going to have to ask Jim that. Yeah.
Do you know anything yet about the episode you're going to be directing?
Yes, I'm pre-prep right now. I've been in prep for a couple weeks now, so I'm shooting the first episode, so I have time to prep, because otherwise I'm not going to have time to prep, because I'm also the number one actor on the show. So
That's often how it is. Season 3, premiering this Sunday, is 8 episodes. The first 2 seasons were only 6 episodes each, and season 4 is actually going to be 8 episodes again. When you were filming season 3, did you feel that added heft, did you feel, besides working more days, obviously, did you feel like it was a bigger season?
yeah, I mean, I think we needed 2 extra episodes to tell the story a little bit more. So we were really grateful that AMC gave us 2 more episodes. Yeah, it makes a longer work time, but we love working, and we're very grateful that AMC allowed us to do 8. Because a lot of shows are 6 now, especially on AMC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it lets the series just breathe a little bit more, and you can see, more of us and more of our characters shining through. I think that helps, and also longer times staying in Santa Fe and just having the work is awesome, instead of having it, what was it, like 3.5 months. Now it's like a little bit longer. So it's nice to have that, because otherwise throughout the year it's like I'm not working unless I have this show right now. So it's nice, but it's good to have time for my daughter too.
Zahn, talk about how this show was first pitched to you about 4 years ago, when we were barely 1 year into the pandemic.
Robert Redford, has been a champion of Tony Hillerman books for about 30 years now, and he's tried a couple different iterations of Tony's books. I was approached by Chris Eyre, who had directed a few of the Hillerman novels back in the late 80s, and Tina Elmo was another one of our EPs, and George R. Martin, and Mr. Redford. It was Chris's idea, I think, Chris Eyre's idea, to approach me. And, they come to me. I mean, that team right there coming to me and ask me if I want to participate and be an EP on the show and play Joe Lepore. And I mean, how do you say no to such a prestigious team like that?
Deana, am I right that this was your first major acting role?
Not my first major acting role, but I would say television series.
Television series.
Yeah, so it's been really nice being able to work with Zahn, because he's such a compassionate, very energy exchanging individual who just is phenomenal in his character work and development. And so it's just been a highlight for me to be able to just be on stage with him and just see his presence, and having that kind of actor who just really wants to go on stage and play and just really feel the character is just so enlightening, because it just makes you feel comfortable and trusted, and that you can really just take the levels that you like, that for me, that I've always wanted to take in a character. So it's really wonderful to be on such a really great television show with a phenomenal actor. As like sports go, you play a higher team, you develop higher. So he's that caliber. So he's really just helped me just be my greatest self as well. So I'm just very honored to be a part of this television series.
Thank you, Deana.
It's the truth.
Oh yeah.
Kai and Jessica, do you have any anecdotes about when you first joined the show, when it was pitched to you? Did you have any questions, any concerns?
I joined the series very much because I saw Zahn's name attached to it. And I'm not tooting your horn, Zahn. I said this before, but I do believe he's the best native actor that we have. So I knew that he would step up my game too. And I think as an actor, that's the goal. You want to work with excellence. You want to work with people who are better than you, because you learn, you grow. So, but when I first saw the breakdown, it said that Bernadette was 5'2". So I got all excited, and I was like, yes, I could work. Nah, I can't do it. So I went to the team. I said, no, I'm not going to tape it. The character's 5'2". I'm 5'10". I'm like Godzilla compared to this character. There's no way. And they're like, just tape it, dummy. So, yeah.
The breakdown said Joe Lepore was 5'2".
Well, that was accurate.
Hey, I think nobody else could have done it like you. So I'm glad that we have you. I was at this film fest in Pechanga, American Indian Film Festival, and Chris Eyre came up to me after watching Blood Quantum, this film I did by Jeff Barnaby, and he's like, I think you're the guy. And he was talking about, he was developing a show with George R. R. Martin, and I just thought he was just, full of hot air. Until he like hit me up and like, we got the writer's room together, and I found out Zahn was attached, and I was like, oh, this is actually real. Hell yeah. So, you jump at the chance to work with people that, enjoy working with and being around. So it was an easy thing.
We've worked together too as well.
Yeah, on Frontier we did, and then on the Red Road with Jason Momoa and Julianne Nicholson, Martin Henderson.
Yeah, so
times,
Zahn,
just like-
Kiowa, and I have known each other for like a decade now.
Yeah.
And
2013 we met.
I was introduced to these two guys through Jason Momoa because we were doing that show Frontier. And before that, Momoa was doing a show, Red Road.
The Red
with
Road,
you guys. Yeah. So see, we're family. We're all connected.
Yeah.
Season 3 premieres this Sunday. Now, the first 2 seasons, Joe and Emma have kind of been dealing with the loss of their son and his murder and continually rehaunted by all of that. What sort of mysteries are on tap for season 3?
Well, I think, season 3 is more of an exploration, continued exploration of the tragedy that has befell between, our family and losing our kid. For me, as my arc, it goes quite a bit into Joe finds himself in some moral gray areas and some consequences of what his decisions from season 2 are causing in his life. But also there's I think there's some healing involved with Joe's character this season, as well as reconciling some of his traumatic past. But everybody's going to have to tune in and see what happens to Joe and Emma.
March 9th, 9 p.m.
We're talking about how last season left off. Joe had taken BJ Vines out into the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night in the snow. Vines is just in his pajamas. Joe puts his gun to his temple, but doesn't put him down. He just ditches him.
Just leaves him out there.
How's that going to work out for
I
Joe
don't
in
know.
season 3?
That's what I'm talking about. I think he made some decisions that might come back and haunt him in season 3, and he's going to have to deal with those consequences. I mean, he's got a FBI agent coming in and saying, "Where's BJ Vines, Joe?" So he's dealing with a lot of fear and anxiety this season for sure.
I've seen some of the new episodes, and I love Joe's answers to her are always so delicately evasive.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, but there's a thing though called energy, and when somebody is keeping things from you. And so Emma definitely has that intuition as one of her characters, and so he can't hide it from her. So that's also what you're going to see in season 3.
I know that Joe,
Issues.
one thing I realized this season was how much Joe Leaphorn loves his wife. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you get to see that. So I like that you're able to see where that connection is and why it's so strong, why it's so in depth. So that's what I really love about season 3 as well.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do you see 2 native characters on screen falling in love? You don't see that very often, and we're in a time period now with representation in film and TV that, it's getting better. We've got a ways to go yet, but it's getting better, and it's great. I feel very fortunate to be a part of this decade.
Well, I remember telling Chris Eyre the final frame of season 2. You two are on the motorcycle, just heading down the highway, beaming like you've never beamed before. And I was like, when do we see that?
Exactly. I never even, thought I would, as an actor, the type of character I am, I'm not really that leading man guy. And to be able to have a relationship on television, somebody that I'm in love with, I was always going to play the bad guy, or, that's kind of what I thought, or Indian number 2 over by the teepee, or Indian number 1 on the horse, something like that. I just never thought that it would get to a point where I could explore characters like that. I'm very fortunate.
Jessica, season 3, burns down, working border patrol, 500 miles away from everybody else. What sort of fresh drama is on tap for her?
Burn is burning down the house this season. That's all I'll say. Bernadette's kind of in her own world this season. And when we were shooting, I kind of felt like I was in my own world, even though, I'm at the Border Patrol. And even though they built an entire Border Patrol just behind the studio where these guys were shooting, just the entire crew did such an amazing job, down to the hair and makeup and those choices to really inform and suggest that we are at the border. That was very interesting in itself. I just wanted to snowball about what Zahn and you were talking about with showing Native love interests in storytelling. I have, from this generation point of view, one thing historically that I was always concerned about was playing a Native role and over-sexualizing the Pocahontas kind of character. So I got to admit, historically, for the last decade, I was really resistant to that and would always talk to writers and the producers and be like, well, she can't make it with so-and-so because it's over-sexualizing her. And then, I realize, part of progressing in storytelling and humanizing the Indigenous experiences is telling love stories and humanizing us. So without giving too much away, you do also see, more of Bernadette's sexuality too. And I think it was very empowering, not just for her character, but for me as an Indigenous woman to be able to feel okay at this moment in time to display that and show that to the world.
Yeah.
In a grounded, non-stereotypical way.
Absolutely.
Kai, in season 3, Chi gets like an arch rival, like the Joker hit his Batman. Shorty Bowlegs, played by Derek Hinkey. Talk about that storyline.
Well, Derek is great guy. It's funny because in episode 1, we're kind of getting a little tussle, but it's kind of a spoiler. But it's funny because he's like a boxer, trained boxer, and he would be able to drop me in a second. But, it's funny seeing Chi's kind of monster come out in a way, because he kind of left that all behind him and he's ran from it his whole life, and now he has to face it head on and confront it in a way that he's not comfortable with, and he's not himself. He's not quite right, but he's got Joe to back him up and help him be a better man, be a better cop, and so I think that's helping me traverse the areas where Chi feels like he's gonna lose it, he's gonna blow his stack and maybe hurt this guy in a way that he can't come back from. And I think once Chi finds out that he's not the guy that he thinks he is, it's a nice little rapport that we can have.
20 episodes into Dark Winds, Kai, would you say that the suit that Chi showed up in season 2 is the most 70s thing that anybody on the show has worn yet? I think the lapel was like reached around the back almost.
I think so, yeah. When I'm at Rosemary Vines talking with her and she comes in with a cigarette and an oxygen tank, yeah, and I'm just like at the window, yeah. That shot alone, I was like, I feel like, Robert Redford in this shot. It was probably the most
That was
70s,
peak
and it's all custom made
polyester.
too. Yeah, by Anto, I think, out of LA. They make me shirts and Western costume. They make me the actual polyester coat and pants to my specification. So it's really nice that Lolly, our costume designer, goes to that length to have it really just tailored to Chi, and it just makes it feel so much more in depth for me when I put it on. I'm just like, dang, dude, I'm really just here. I'm gonna blast my boombox and just play 1971 Billboard Top 100, just to get into it.
Which he does on set. He'll show up to set with his boombox blasting.
I have a reader question here from TV Line reader M. Reed. For Zahn, as an executive producer, has there ever been any discussion about adding the character of Professor Louisa Bernabet to the series? And I guess from the book, she was an anthropologist who Joe took a little bit of a shine to.
We go off from the books of Tony Hillerman. So it's difficult to write all the characters into a 6-episode or 8-episode TV show. That's up to the writing team, actually. That comes down to John Worth and the writing team. I can make suggestions, but I don't know if that's a strong enough character to come into our life. Plus, I'm very not happily married, but I have my wife here.
Exactly.
So
We don't need a third
Whoops,
wheel.
I forgot she was sitting next to me.
In the season 2 finale, we got the first kiss between Jim and Bern, perhaps the slowest burning romance on television.
Really.
When that script first came out, who texted who first to say, did you see?
You know what's interesting? Before we booked this role, the pandemic was about to happen, and he called me and he's like, do you want to go to the last bar standing? And I was like, absolutely. We went, and I just said, I have a feeling someone is gonna, everyone thought we were a couple or brother and sister. And I was like, I have a feeling someone's gonna pair us up and they're gonna want to see us make out on TV. So I called it.
She called it, yeah.
Yeah, but we really do have like a family relationship. So that was, do you want to explain how it was filming that?
Yeah, it's funny. It's during COVID, right? Season 2. So we had our face shields on to not touch our makeup and mess up our hair. And we were just, we're in the behind the scenes before the camera's rolling. We're just like messing around in front. And they're like blocking the shot. And we're like just messing around, like pressing our
Face shields.
our face shields together and mashing it up and just being nasty about it. And I remember Chris. What was Chris doing?
Chris, we were just joking, and our director's like, "That's not sexy. You guys are like siblings. That's not sexy." And he started freaking out. So I was like, "We're just joking. Like, as soon as you yell rolling, we're good. Like, we're in it. You know it. We got you, Chris."
No. Switch. It's a switch. It happens quick.
We were literally like just bumping our masks, going. We were going.
We have these face shield masks during COVID.
Like
they cover
Darth
our
Vader
whole face.
masks.
Yeah.
It's not like a mask mask.
No, it's like a full Darth
shield.
Vader
Wear it
shield.
around your neck, and then it comes up. Yeah.
So that's how that kiss scene went.
It moves your makeup around, so you can't really wear the surgical mask.
I mentioned in the intro the fantastic guest stars that you have on the show, and what I like about it is you all they kind of spread them out amongst you. Like, you get to work with Jenna Elfman, and you get to work with Jerry Ryan, and you get Bruce Greenwood. Talk about some of the guest stars you have coming up this season and the characters that we're going to meet.
I mean, Jenna Elfman this season plays Sylvia Washington from Washington,
The FBI agent.
FBI agent, and she's just such a pro. She's been doing this for a long time, and to be working with that level of an actress is just amazing. I find myself just staring at her in scenes, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in this scene. I've got to say my line here, because just watching her perform is amazing. To watch any actor at that level perform is just amazing to me, and I learned quite a bit from Jenna this season. She's also just a very warm person and easy to get along with. So.
Absolutely. I got to work with Jenna as well, and she was just very warming, humbled, but also had a really great personality as far as bringing laughter. And then she just gets in to her character. So she's definitely a really great exchange of energy. I just absolutely adore her as well.
Yeah, you have a nice little moment where Emma actually points out to Joe, there's not a lot of female FBI agents in the 1970s.
Yes, exactly. Emma was very excited about her because, during that time, a lot of the women were told to go into like secretarial work, especially Native American women, to not go to college. And so for even Emma to have a job as a nurse, she would have had to push against the grains to go into some of those more vocational type style, just like the women of that time had to go through. So she was definitely intrigued and fascinated.
I think there was 2 female FBI agents in 1972.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jenna looked at him and told me. Because she's a pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good.
And when Bruce Greenwood's character shows up, that's when it hits me like, oh man, Bernard, she's just stepped in it. She's bumped into the wrong hornet's nest.
Again, it's an honor to work with people who've been in this business for a long time. And again, as a performer, it's always fascinating to me to see people's process. I also want to give a massive shout out to Raul Trujillo, who is a freaking legend of a character actor. If you don't know, he was the bad guy in Mel Gibson's Apocalypto. So he plays a predominant role this season coming up as well.
And
Zero Wolf.
Zero Wolf.
Zero Wolf. What a name.
And again, he's a dear, I could say, family friend of mine in real life, but to see him turn on for those scenes, then you understand what this other incredible Indigenous actor brings to the table. And I'm just really grateful that I get to learn so much in the presence of all of these incredible actors, no matter what the size of the role.
You can't forget the wonderful A. Martinez either. I mean,
Oh.
He's
Oh, A.
fantastic. I'm so glad
Martinez.
he's back this season.
Yeah.
we love A.
Amazing.
He's great. Alex Mraz there, Phil Berg, Terry Serpico.
Christopher Heyerdahl.
Yeah,
Christopher Heyerdahl.
yeah.
He showed up at
There's a nice little
yeah.
Twilight reunion with me and Chris and Alex. So it was fun.
I have another reader question from Michael, and this is a really good question in light of Reservation Dogs and Rutherford Falls, and to an extent, Killers of the Flower Moon. Is Dark Winds bringing a new renaissance of Native American storytelling? How would you like to see Dark Winds encourage or inspire this form of entertainment in both the film and television industries?
I think all 3 are. Like I said before, we're we're in a new era of Native representation on TV and film, and we're slowly chipping away at those stereotypes and tropes that we all grew up with. I grew up with watching the John Ford, films, the Cowboys and Indian films back in the day, and slowly we're chipping away. And I think that I hope we can continue to tell our own stories and to continue having Native directors, Native writers, Native producers on television shows. Yes.
Before we turn it over to the audience for a couple audience questions, I did want to tease, and we agreed we're not going to spoil this, the 2 big cameos in the season premiere. I'm just going to ask you, Zahn, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited were you to work with those 2 individuals?
To be honest with you, it was one of the finest moments in my career does everybody knows, right?
No, nobody knows.
I can't.
Will not say the names.
No.
We agreed on this.
Okay. It was amazing experience. The guy I worked with, the moment I had, the few seconds I had, it was a beautiful experience and a dream come true. And it put a big smile on my face. Kiowa was on the set, and he's like, "Zahn, you look like a little boy right now. You're smiling
I got to be
so much."
front row just watching this happen.
That's how I was watching
This is
it. I was like,
history.
I didn't work that day, and I drove to set to witness this historic moment. So that's episode 1. I'll just say that.
all right, we're going to take some questions from the audience. If you have a question you want to ask anybody on the cast or the whole cast, just raise your hand.
Considering Emma and Joe lost their son, prior to events before the show started, if Joe were to lose Emma, what would he do?
You're gonna find. Well, no, I couldn't say that. Whoops. No. Just one thing I realized this season was how much my character, Joe Leaphorn, loved his wife, Emma. It was an interesting moment I had this season, and the lines got a little bit blurred. And there was a moment you'll see in season 3 where I'm listening to my wife, and it was just a surreal moment for me. I love Deana Allison. Zahn loves Deana, but my character, Joe, loves his wife so much. And it was a really great moment there when I felt that. And I've never experienced that. Of course, I've never played somebody in love before, so it was a beautiful moment for me personally as an actor. So I don't know what Joe would do without his wife.
That scene in season 1 you guys had where you argued, you haven't been here in 3 years.
Yeah, Joe has a lot to deal with his community and his job, and he's got a lot of things he has to juggle. He has got a pretty fine line he has to walk. Yeah.
That's a really great quote right there too, because that will also be explored in season 3. Emma saw already in season 1 just because of the tragedy of their son that he hasn't been there. So he's lost right now internally and emotionally.
First of all, thanks for coming out. This is awesome experience. As a writer and educator myself, I'm like blown away by the performances of the show and just your craft. But you guys do a lot of advocacy work too, and I'm just really inspired by that. So I want to thank you for that, but also ask like how others could help support these efforts in a respectful and effective way. Jessica, I'm thinking of like 7 Forward, Boil Alert, all the attention you brought for that, stuff like that. It's just really, it's amazing to see that you guys have the time to film these shows, and then on your free time, you're doing all this good in the world. And I want to know how we can help you with this.
Well, mad respect for researching and knowing about that. Thank you so much. I'm very fortunate where I feel like I knew why I came to Earth around this time, and that is to be in service of others. And as you probably know, everything I do in cinema and TV is really an excuse to give back to my people and help with all of the intergenerational trauma our people are still healing from. So I would say, like, right now I'm still producing short films as we speak. And as we're doing press, I was giving notes for a short film that I got private equity to help me finance. And actually AMC came in with some funding too to help me create the short film on the Siksika First Nation for my graduate students who are living in third world conditions right now. And I cannot tell you how much hope and a sense of purpose this short film is giving them this entire winter. it's saving lives. It's changing lives. So I think, when I'm able to announce when we release it, I think just supporting it by watching it is the first step, and I'm completely aware that, a lot of us do not have the resources financially to support these endeavors. The short film still costs quite a few thousands. Short films they're a feat in itself. But again, I think taking the time to watch what we're creating, and the short films I'm going to put out is a series showing the trials and tribulations of what life is really like on the reserve. But I don't want to make it trauma porn. Again, I think non-Indigenous allies being super open to just supporting us by watching us you're doing more than enough, because that's creating more humility and compassion and understanding in our world. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kim Roots, our editor-in-chief.
So that was such a nice, beautiful, deep question. This is a very stupid question, so just go with me here. But Zahn, I'm going to aim it at you, Zahn. So your episode of Westworld, the episode that put your character at the center, is one of my favorite. I'm hoping you can tell us something about the shooting of that episode that we don't know, and then follow up. Did you actually know what Westworld was all about? Because I covered the show and I still don't know.
Absolutely not. That was a tough one to follow. First off, Jonah and Lisa Nolan are amazing writers, amazing showrunners. Jonah is Christopher Nolan's younger brother. I mean, Christopher Nolan is, one of our best. But on that show, we didn't get the scripts. We get little paragraphs. So it was written when we're on the set. They were writing. So the process was very different from how I'd worked in previous shows, and I had no idea where my character was going. They just kept, when they hired me, it was like, yeah, we're gonna do this one episode that you're really gonna be featured in, and I'm like, oh, great. But when I was doing press after Westworld, I would have to watch the podcast to understand what Westworld was about. What a brilliant show. It was shot so beautifully. The actors were amazing on Westworld. To work with legends like Anthony Hopkins were obviously a dream come true for me. But it was a difficult. The most difficult thing was for me was the paint, my body paint. They mixed this paint with glue, and then at 3:00 in the morning when it's cold out, they put it on your body every morning. So, and to get it off, it takes about an hour and a half at night to get it off. And they would set up portable showers for me on the set so I could run in the shower to get it off before I wrapped. So it was a difficult shoot and long days, etc. But what a beautiful episode that was, all done in Lakota, and to be in the studio doing my own language, because I'm not fluent, but to have my mom help me with some of the language. They have, I can't remember her name. I think it was White Hat. But she helped me with the language to get it right. And we spent 2 days in the studio, 8 hours a day, just to get that 1 hour episode with the pronunciations right. So it was a beautiful episode.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This question's for Kai. Taylor Lautner, you mentioned Twilight earlier. Taylor Lautner has a show he's working on called, I think it's Taylor Lautner Werewolf Hunter. No way. Yeah. Wait, you didn't know about that? Okay.
Keep listening. It gets better.
I don't know too much about it. I was just going to see if you, as one of the werewolves.
Hey, you just turned me on to it. I had no idea.
Okay, well, hit him up. I think
yeah,
you might want to get involved in
that.
What
is this? Were you going to hunt us?
I think he's playing himself.
He's playing himself, but this Taylor Lautner in the show is a werewolf hunter.
So is it like a satire? Documentary? He's going to come try to track down his pack brothers and kill us all systematically?
I mean, watch your back, but I don't know. Get involved.
I mean, I would watch that. Yeah, I'll ask him.
All right. Well, thank you, Zahn, Deana, Jessica, and Kiowa for being part of this TVLine Spotlight conversation. It was really lovely having you. So excited for the new Renewal and very excited for the upcoming season. I've seen half of it, and it's just gangbusters.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
guys,
everyone,
joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, New York.